So Doctor Who is a very expansive universe, having spanned the main show and several spin-offs. But today's video is about one very important question. Why did Doctor Who never cross over with Torchwood? Obviously that has happened only once, with Journey's End being this major crossover to end all crossovers in Doctor Who. That was probably the biggest crossover though. So the Doctor has crossed over into the spin-offs before, having appeared in Class as Capaldi, and most notably the Sarah Jane Adventures, both as Tennant and Smith. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to omit Season 1 from this video because the obvious excuse is the Doctor was pretty busy, and this obviously takes place during Series 3, at least Torchwood Season 1 does, and perhaps we could see more stuff happen, because Torchwood does take place after Series 2 with the episode 4 titled Cyberwoman, revealing the Cyber Conversion Unit, and Owen referencing how the Cybermen brought down Torchwood 1. So this effectively places Torchwood Season 1 after Season 2 of Doctor Who, which probably places the first season of Torchwood either just before Series 3 or during it. Maybe the Series 3 and Season 1 of Torchwood run concurrently. Season 3 of Doctor Who and Season 1 of Torchwood run concurrently. So I'm going to be drawing on some examples of events during the series of Torchwood where the Doctor could have most likely intervened. But the main purpose of Torchwood was to answer the question, who protects the Earth when the Doctor isn't there? But still, there are some interesting events that could have drawn the Doctor's attention. So the first example of events that could have drawn the Doctor's attention is when Martha was working with Jack and Torchwood and put herself in danger. Think what would happen in that episode if the Doctor was actually there to help. Also, we'd be able to see the Doctor meet the full Torchwood team. I'm not just talking about Yanto and Gwen. Doctor would have been able to reunite with Jack and meet Yanto and Gwen for the first time, and he would have also been able to meet Tosh and Owen. The Doctor didn't actually get to meet Tosh and Owen in either of the times Jack crossed over into Doctor Who, because in Utopia, Jack just ran straight to the Tardis, and in Journey's End, Owen and Tosh had already died by that point. So if the Doctor was present for the events of that episode, in Exit Wounds, the finale of Season 2, Owen would have probably not been shot, and he probably would have still died in Exit Wounds anyway, so I doubt anything would have really changed there. So the next episode of events that could have drawn the Doctor's attention were the events of Torchwood Children of Earth. Now, I'm going to just pause the video a bit here. I'm uncertain when Children of Earth takes place. I'm not sure if it takes place during the specials or Smith's reign as the Doctor. So if you guys want to drop your own theories about the timeline in the comments, that would be greatly appreciated. So the events of Torchwood Children of Earth would have easily drawn the Doctor's attention, because if the Doctor was present for those events, he would probably manage to stop the 456 without handing over the children. Plus, the Doctor would have arrested those who first met the 456, or maybe even the 456 themselves, and handed all of them over to the Judoon. This would eventually mean that Yanto doesn't actually die, which in turn leads to Jack not leaving the planet, and Jack could have actually showed up in some of the other Doctor Who specials. Okay, so here's my bit about the timeline. Assuming that Children of Earth takes place in 2009, around Series 4 time, we can assume that the 10th Doctor would be the one to exile the 456, who presumably are also arrested or even executed by the Judoon. Another example of events that would have drawn the Doctor's attention are the events of Torchwood Miracle Day. Quick side note, I have seen one episode of Miracle Day and it's not that impressive. Anyway, the Doctor's attention would have been drawn to the events of Miracle Day, where we would potentially see Matt Smith's Doctor meet Jack for the first time, which we sadly never got for either 11 or 12, we only got it for Whittaker. Damn you, Chibnall. Not that I'm complaining about Jack's return in Series 12, that was great. The writing in Series 12 was less than impressive. Anyway, Jack did of course return in Fugitive of the Judoon, as I've just said, and will most likely return in Revolution of the Daleks, this year's festive special, because the fan base is probably going to allow it. Anyway, I don't really think the Doctor would have been useful during the events of Miracle Day, because I'm not sure if the events of Miracle Day would have affected the Doctor as a whole, because if Miracle Day reverses Jack's immortality, would it reverse the Doctor's regeneration powers? So would it make the Doctor mortal for once? I'm not sure if it would, though. So I'm just going to go into a fun fact here. Jack was originally meant to appear in A Good Man Goes to War, and the episode would have set up a very popular theory that has spanned across the fan base. So I'm going to go back to the last of the Time Lords here, where Jack said that his nickname since his time in the Time Agency was the Face of Bo, which is the name of one of the Doctor's oldest friends. And he would have lost his head to the Headless Monks, and Jack would have become the Face of Bo. So, in conclusion, now, as much as I would have liked Doctor Who to cross over with Torchwood earlier in the earlier years, I'm not really sure if the Doctor and Torchwood would mesh really well together. So I'm just going to go into a bit of a theory that I've been toying with. I like to think of Doctor Who and its spin-offs on a sort of timeline-like thing. In the middle is Doctor Who, which keeps the balance between everything. On one side we have Torchwood, which is the darker equivalent to Doctor Who, and answers the question, who protects the Earth when the Doctor isn't there? Torchwood. And Jack obviously got his own spin-off. And then on the other side of the spectrum we have the Sarah Jane Adventures, which represents the more kid-friendly side of Doctor Who, whereas Torchwood represents the more darker and edgier side of the show. And with Doctor Who being the yin and yang of this whole thing. So originally I've wanted Torchwood to appear in Doctor Who for years. I know they appeared in Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and of course in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. That two-parter will forever shatter my heart. Anyway, this video was just an experiment, and hopefully you enjoyed it. See you guys soon.